It's hard when you create your own business and you're working for yourself. You're 100% responsible for your own success. All these additional things like the mixing and mastering ideas, the access to record label contacts, all this kind of stuff, then obviously that's going to really make that person stand out, right? Does it still work? Yeah, it does. But I really recommend that you think about what's going to be your special offer and how are you going to make yourself unique compared to other people out there.
So you would say a bundle would be better than trying to do like licensing and things like that?
Definitely. Yeah, I would definitely aggregate your content into bundles, because you're going to have a much easier time selling a bundle of content. It's much more valuable than just individual beats. But just be really clear about who your unique customer is, because so often I talk to producers and they say like, oh, well, rappers is who I'm targeting. But even within that community, there's so many subgroups, right? There's people who are looking for old school beats. There's West Coast fans. There's East Coast people. There's EDM fans. And even within those, you can get like even more niche down. It could be like, like Wu-Tang Clan style old school beats or something like that. So really make sure that you kind of drill down your unique customer and what they're after. And then you'll have a much better time marketing to that person, speaking his language, than just trying to reach like everybody at the same time.
Awesome, man. Love that. Appreciate it.
For sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Mr. Ahmed.
What's going on, Adrian?
What's up, man?
Man, everything's good. I actually had two questions for you. So like starting out before you had your first business, like what was like probably like your biggest fear, or like some doubts that you had in yourself just when you were starting out?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. And there still is, to be honest. It's hard when you create your own business and you're working for yourself. You're 100% responsible for your own success. And that can be a scary thing sometimes, especially when you're starting out and you haven't even proven what you're trying to do. But the biggest thing for me was just belief in myself. I think that can go a really long way. So even if everyone else is doubting you, and like my parents did not think it was a great idea for me to be a music producer, trust me. But as long as you have belief in yourself, you see the vision, and you, more than anything, also you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So you see that like big, long-term vision and the end goal, then just keep going and eventually you can get there.
Hell yeah, bro. That's crazy. My second question is I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you've read tons of books about what's probably one of the best books and that had the strongest influence towards you?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's really hard. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, obviously, .com Secrets, I like that one because it's Russell Brunson and I'm a fan of ClickFunnels. They definitely hooked me up and helped me a lot with my business. So that's a great one. If anyone hasn't read that, definitely check it out. I'm also really into real estate, actually. So one thing that I've always been very passionate about is using money that I create in the music industry and then investing in something else. Because the thing about the music industry and many other creative arts is that money it comes and it goes and it ebbs and it flows, right? So, you could be making a bunch of money this year, but not as much money next year because your royalty checks are dried up. It's really hard to maintain a consistent income. So I've always been really vocal about, using the money you make and investing it into something like real estate or the stock market. So you have that long-term appreciation. That's really how you grow your long-term wealth. Like making money from your business is great, but then you want to invest it in something that's going to pay you long-term dividends and is really going to, see you through to retirement or wherever it is that you see yourself in the future. Right. And having said that, one of the books that really influenced me a lot was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Kiyosaki. If you guys haven't read that one, I really encourage you to check that out.
All right, cool. I appreciate your time, my man.
For sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Steve, what you got?
I have a couple questions. First one, really quick, is how can we get a hold of your content? I'm sure you'll probably drop it later, but I just wanted to make sure and ask that. But my question is, I know you're presenting more towards presenting offers to artists, but me as an artist myself and getting into internet, marketing stuff, I work for an agency, so I know the power of ClickFunnels, and we got ourselves a Comic Club award for our clients. But I want to know
Congrats.
I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. I want to know your take on using artists using NFTs to like how that fits in the mix.
To come back to your first question, I'll definitely hook you up with all the links and stuff. Anno Domini Nation is the website for the music content. But in terms of NFTs, yeah, I mean, we're kind of in this incredible moment in time right now where this potentially, completely industry changing technology is coming out. There's like a lot of projects coming out right now on the blockchain with crypto and stuff like that. And some of them don't really solve any issues, but specifically NFTs in the music industry are very, very valuable because they solve a legitimate problem, which is, finding and attributing original ownership and copyright and stuff like that to content creators. Because right now it's just like the Wild West out there, right? Like it's so hard to track usage of your music. And there's programs like YouTube Content ID, for example, where YouTube will fingerprint the original authorship of music on its platform, but anybody can claim anything. So I could just go on like Justin Bieber's video right now and say that, hey, this is my copyright, submit something to YouTube, and then I would start getting a revenue share from his video until obviously his lawyers get pissed off and send me a cease and desist. But the point is like anybody can do anything, and there's no way of really verifying ownership and figuring all that stuff out. So I think NFTs are great in the sense that it's on the blockchain. So you're always going to be able to see the record of who created something, who's the owner. And I think, especially in the music industry, that's something that people have been trying to do for a long time. So I don't think we're quite there yet. There's some really interesting platforms coming out, like Audius, I think is one of them, that are doing some cool things. There's also something called Creator Coins, something like the Rally project are doing right now, which is really cool too, enabling artists to essentially create their own cryptocurrency, and then fans or customers can basically, pay you in your own coin, and the entire market rises accordingly. So there's some really cool stuff out there, but I think it's still going to be like 5 years or more before we really get to a point where NFTs are having like a major impact on the industry.
Right. Got it. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you. Miss Chanel.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Hi, Chanel. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I had a quick question. One, I wanted to know, all that you're talking, I'm trying to write and hear you at the same time. Will you be sharing the links of everything that you've been sharing today with us?
Yeah, for sure. I'll send it over to Jake, and I'm sure he'll make it available to you guys.
Okay. All right. And the next question is, do you, even though you're still producing and all that, do you keep an open door for new artists if, you feel like their flow can match what you have, or you see potential in them? Do you still keep an open door?
Yeah. So first thing to note, we're not a record label as such, or like a management team or anything like that. We're a team of producers. So really that's our strength, right? It's in producing beats and selling those beats. We're not necessarily like talent agents or a record label that signs artists. But that being said, whenever I find an artist that I believe in or who I think has a lot of potential, I'm happy to make those connections with the right people. I'm happy to also promote content, especially if it's recorded on our productions. I love sharing that content and, making our network available to that artist who deserves to be heard. But yeah, if you have something specific in mind, feel free to hit me up after this, and I'd love to hear the content.
Okay. And also, one last thing, what is like your price range? I know you was talking about the bundles of the different beats. Do you is bundles the only way you do it, or do you do like a single? And what is kind of like the price range if someone decides to purchase?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I kind of do both, actually. I still have a website, so to speak, online store, which is annodomination.com. And there you can go and you can browse like thousands of beats from me and my team, and you can buy them individually. Okay. And I would say, so our prices, they range anywhere from like $20 for a really basic non-exclusive license, all the way up to maybe $2,000 or $3,000 for an exclusive license to like a buyout on a beat. But I would say the standard price is online for producers to sell their beats. Again, non-exclusively, anywhere from like $10 to $50. And then there's different license tiers depending on how many streams, how many sales and stuff like that you're allowing artists to have. So, really easy bit of market research. Just go on something like beatstars.com, just browse through like the top 10 people in the charts, and you can see what they're charging. And that's probably what most other people are charging too. I forget, was there a second part to that question?
With what you're doing so far as producing with the beats, and even though a person can purchase the bundles or the singles, do you still get residual? Just say like as if they blew up, just off of what they got from you, would you still get the residual also?
Yes. Oh, and I just remember what you asked about the bundles as well, the price of the bundles. So usually for me, what I like to tell people is you're getting X amount of beats for the price of one beat on my website. So I try to keep the price the same, let's say like 20 or 30 bucks, but I give them like 20 beats instead of one beat. And I only make that available for a very limited time. So it's kind of, the messaging works really well if you can tell people you're getting 20 of something for the price of one. So that's kind of the pricing that I'm trying to keep it at, somewhere between 20 and 50 bucks for a bundle. And that works really well, especially when you combine it with having some upsells and one-time offers. So, an upsell might be, okay, so you bought a bundle of beats for 20 bucks, but maybe you want to spend $50 more and get all the individual track out stems so you can do mixing and mastering. And then maybe you spend another $100 extra to get unlimited license rights, meaning you can make unlimited streams and sales instead of 2,000. And then maybe a one-time offer would be like, here's a second package of beats. Now that, I know you're interested in beats, here's more beats, that kind of stuff. So, even though you're charging 20 bucks up front for a bundle, the average cart value might be like 300 bucks because once they're kind of in the sales funnel, they start realizing, hey, this is great value. I want to keep buying more stuff from this guy. Okay. Now, in terms of the royalties, yeah, for sure. So you definitely still keep the royalties. And what you do is you issue a license agreement included in that bundle of beats. And in there, you could just put in the terms, you owe 50% of publishing to whatever, Anno Domini Nation LLC. So the terms of that license agreement is obviously something that's completely open to you. And of course, you can retain your publishing and all the other royalties and stuff like that too.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Adrian.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. My boy, Devin, what you got?
What's your next biggest venture or goal for this year? And it could be outside of music.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'm really into real estate. So that's kind of my retirement plan, you could say.
So are you like trying to build like a portfolio or? Yeah,
actually, I own 9 properties at this point. And I started 7 years ago. I bought my first one in LA. It was a little bungalow, 900 square feet. At the time, it cost me what felt like a fortune. It was like $500,000. That little bungalow 7 years later in LA is now worth $850,000. Literally just from holding onto that little asset right there and like putting all my savings into it, it felt like at the time to get that 20% deposit. I've now just made $300,000 in 7 years just for it sitting there, just being in LA. So to me, that's the kind of money that you can't really replicate with much else, right? The kind of capital appreciation you get from owning real estate. Because let's be honest, like land is the one asset we're never going to be able to make more of, right? There's a finite amount of land, especially in popular areas, popular cities like LA. People are always going to want to move in, but there's always going to be a shortage of housing, right? So to me, it was a no-brainer to kind of like invest in that. And, aside from the capital appreciation, I also love the fact that you're earning passive income, right? Because it suddenly turns into this asset that's paying you money every single month from somebody giving you a rent check. So on top of the capital appreciation, you're also getting passive income, which means, you have more and more money coming in as you own more and more real estate, which is amazing. I love that. So I kind of built that up. I used the money that I earned from the first house, from the rental income to buy the second house. And it just kind of snowballs from there to, eventually 10 years down the line, you might have a rental portfolio of 10 properties. And once those are paid off, you use basically let's be honest, your renters are paying off your mortgage, right? Because they're covering your mortgage and they're paying you money on top. So you're not even doing anything except just sitting and waiting. That's the whole thing about real estate. You just sit and wait. And then 30 years down the line, when those loans are paid off, you're getting a huge check and that's your retirement right there.
One thing on top of that, and it has to do with the NFT space. Are
Sure.
you looking or have you already bought into digital real estate?
Digital real estate, I have not taken the plunge yet. I feel like it's almost too new for me. I kind of want to see like how things shape up because what I'm worried about is, hey, say I buy, for example, this piece of real estate in Sandbox, but then Sandbox is not the platform that everyone goes to 3 years down the line. It's something completely new. So I just want to kind of see how things shape up and, which platform kind of emerges as the front runner before I make that commitment. I'm all in on it. Like, I think it's awesome. but I just think it's a little too soon for me. It's too risky. I just want to kind of see, where it ends up, basically.
Right, because Sandbox might not even be around in like 2 years.
Exactly. It could be something new that we don't even know at this point. If you had created an entire business based on, Vine promotion or something, you'd be out of business.
Right.
But if you'd waited a couple more years and now Instagram is the place to be, or TikTok, and that's established itself as a main player, then is the point, to move in and build a business and, profit from that.
Right. All right, cool. Thanks.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We'll go with Mr. Brandon Ford.
As someone who is as far as just trying to get stuff out there, extremely new and very beginner, I have toyed with the idea of just uploading videos and shorts to like YouTube, Instagram Reels, and to TikTok. So my question to you is, being in that position, would you have any tips? Well, two questions. So one, would you have any tips for somebody who's a very beginner with just getting stuff out there, recording stuff, and just putting it out, whether that's on social media or whatever else? Mm-hmm. And secondly, would there be any recording audio equipment, video and audio recording equipment that would be very like beginner entry level, that's good quality, but it's not going to, kill the bank to purchase something, just have something to get started?
You mean like to create content specifically?
Yeah.
Your phone.
Right.
Honestly, like phones these days are so high quality. You can shoot a fantastic video on there and it's going to look fine. And whatever you think is, like your downfall or whatever, like having high quality equipment, having videos that look great, being a complete beginner, just turn that into your story and own it, because people connect with that and they vibe with that. If you're just yourself and you're genuine and you embrace whatever your shortfallings are, you kind of turn them into your strengths in a way, right? Because that's part of who you are, and people can sense that and they relate to that. And that's worth so much more than like high-end equipment. It's worth so much more than years of marketing experience. Just being genuine and being yourself and bringing people along for the ride. There's always going to be someone out there who speaks your language, who's in the same position, and you're going to be that guy's guy. You're going to be the man for him. So, don't let that stop you by any means. In terms of like the actual content you're putting out, I mean, I would definitely say start on all the popular platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to do, and just try things out. Like just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks, because chances are you're not going to nail it first time, right? Just, commit to putting out content, let's say twice a week, every, Monday and Wednesday or something like that. And just cover a range of topics, try a few different things. And pretty soon you'll get a sense of like, hey, this one got all the views, or this one was great. I got so many comments here, or, I got so many subscribers after I posted this specific content. And then just let that guide you, and just, don't mastermind it all at this point, but literally just see what works and what connects with your audience.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Samson.
Right. So obviously, Rick Ross and Wu-Tang, they all got their own little bit of like a different style. So what do you do to like stand out to such a big influence like that?
You mean like how did I get the placements with those artists?
Yeah, 100%.
The very first placement I ever got, I literally just messaged an artist on MySpace, because back then you could do that and they would actually reply. So I was like, why not? Let's just see what happens. But really the principle is you lead with value. You never ever hit someone up and ask something of them, especially someone high caliber like that, right? You don't just say like, hey, what's up, 2 Chainz? Can you listen to my music? Like, no, that's not how it works. You provide value. So for example, hey, 2 Chainz, first of all, I listened to your last album. I thought the beats were great. I actually have something similar that I think you would like. I want to give you 5 beats for free. They're completely free, no charge. Here you go. No strings attached. And that's how you lead with value. And that's how people are like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll check it out, I guess. But if you start a conversation with asking for something, you're just going to get deleted and then ignored. So, always think about what do they want? What do they need? How can I provide value? And start with that. That's how you open doors and start a conversation. And once they see the value and they appreciate it, then later down the road, you can ask for something in return. But yeah, that's just the way that I do things. And I would recommend that anybody who wants something from an influencer or someone like that does things. In terms of like reaching out to Rick Ross and Wu-Tang, this was like later on. A lot of that just came down to networking. You know, you don't necessarily hit up the artist directly, but you research who's in their entourage, who's their manager, who's their best friend, who's their girlfriend or whatever. And then you start networking with some of these people. And before you know it, you have an in, right? Because it's much easier to get a response from, you know, 50 Cent's manager than it is from 50 Cent, because he already gets a million messages every day on Instagram, but his manager probably doesn't. So if you do your homework and you figure out who that guy is and you find his name on LinkedIn or wherever like these professional networks are where you can find that kind of information, then you network with that person. And if he likes your stuff, he's going to forward it to 50 Cent for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure,
Definitely
man.
some good tips in there. And I just got one more quick question, switching topics a little bit to the real estate side. Are you doing more of like wholesaling? Are you just holding them? Are you renting like Airbnb? Like how are you going about earning that passive income from it?
Yeah, so I love talking about this stuff. People always just ask me about, you know, music, but I love talking about investment too. Yeah, so what I did was I try to buy in a good area and try to, like everyone else, try to get a good deal on something, preferably something where it needs a little bit of work, but more or less cosmetic work. So if I can get something and, you know, just remodel a bathroom, paint all the walls and have like instant $50,000 of equity in the house, I'm super happy. I don't try and do anything major, you know, no like foundation issues, no roofs or anything like that. That's just too much work for me and too risky for me because I'm just not an expert in that stuff. So I don't want to mess around with it. But then what I do once I've rehabbed it, I made it look nice. I might look into getting my money back out. So I could do a refinance if it appraises higher. Say, for example, I bought a house for 500,000. Now I put some work in and it's worth 550,000. I might do a refinance and take that money back out and then invest it somewhere else. But in the interim, what I do is I actually do short-term rentals because I like long-term rentals in the sense that it's very hands-off. Short-term rental is definitely more hands-on because you have to deal with, you know, weekly turnovers, sometimes even nightly turnovers. But the thing is you can make up to like 3 times as much per month, right? So that little house, for example, I was talking about, the first one that we bought in LA, that rents for like 200, 250 bucks a night. That means I can make like 7,000, 8,000 a month. And if I long-term rented that thing, it would make maybe 3,000. So you can see like the passive income from that, well, not quite passive, but the income from that is just to the point where it's worth putting in the extra work. The only caveat obviously being, if you want to do short-term rentals, you need to kind of do a little research on local laws, because certain cities and certain areas, they don't allow short-term rentals, or you have to get a permit or something like that. So there's definitely more work you have to put into it. But if you're willing to go down that path, and if you're willing to put in the work, then, you know, you definitely are going to be making a lot more money.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Raymundo.
Dude, I got so much to talk to you about, man. This guy right here, the modern day or the modern musician. I'm a member of that. If we, you know what I mean, it's just I believe I paid you guys, I believe twice or something like that because of different emails and stuff like that. And it's just wild. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just asking maybe I could get a number or something like that to contact somebody, because I've been leaving a couple messages I haven't got responded back to yet.
Modern musician isn't my business, but I'll take the credit anyway if you have something good to say about it.
what did you say that you invented in the beginning?
Modernproducers.com.
Oh, okay. Right on. Okay, so it's a different person. So cool. All right, man. I said that's really cool, man. It's good information that you're giving us. I like that information about linking up with the a manager or something like that. The whole thing about this whole thing is that I just go, you know what I'm saying? I go. I go get it. I make music and I just make albums, and that's what I get. That's what I get a drive off of. So I made 5 albums 1 year. I released maybe none of them yet. You know what I mean? This was a year ago or 2 years ago. Like I released 2 of them. And I'm sitting on 3. You know what I'm saying? But I'm probably not going to release those because I think it's old. And I already started my next one. And I just recently finished my latest one, and I'm doing that. And it's just my mind it moves real quick, right? So for me to slow it down and just step-by-step process is a trip, but I need to start doing that. And this is an interview about me. What's up, y'all? What's up? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just bullshit.
Yeah, man, I think listen, you're like in a position where a lot of artists end up, which is, you know, you create music, but you never put it out, right? Because you keep second guessing yourself. You keep like thinking like, oh, I could tweak this, I could change that. Mm-hmm. But then what happens is it's just collecting digital dust and nobody ever gets to hear it. So nothing happens, right? You're not getting anywhere. what you really have to do is just get over yourself. Like, whatever your fears or misconceptions are, just put it out there.
Yeah, but I can't
let
call it
people
though,
decide.
man. I can't call it, man. I don't really know what it is, man. I've been at this sport my whole life, man. I'm talking about my whole life. And I just ain't got nothing, bro. I ain't got nothing on it, man. Like, I need to start putting like stamps on stuff. You know what I'm saying? I need to start getting income for things. I've been at this thing my whole life, bro. And I just feel like that I've been having so much fun with it, I guess. So if you want to call it that, fun with it, but just living like a different style person and just freaking getting it, making songs, going out there and doing shows and just having all that part of the thing. I didn't start no business, but I recently just started a company, and I reached out to a couple people that do the business that I want them to do for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'll pay people to do something for me. But if I would have done something for me a long time ago, bro, I would have been established by now. It's just my whole life passed me by, and now I'm right here, right now, bro. What do you suggest that I start from today or tomorrow?
Well, first of all, start it today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Just put something out there. All the music that you're sitting on, like, what's the worst that could happen if you put it out right now? Just put it up on YouTube, put it up on SoundCloud, see what happens, see how people react.
What about right after that, like the step to start seeing some kind of revenue or something like that?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. You're not
okay,
what people vibe with, and what kind of music is right for your audience until you put it out there and you get some feedback. And once you get that feedback after posting some free content, and you start growing your fan base and you start giving them more of the content that resonates with the audience, then you start monetizing that. But the thing about music and musicians is so often they just get in their own head and they just make the music that they want to make. And I get that, like every album you put out there is like this beautiful, unique snowflake, right? But at the end of the day, it's only worth so much if nobody's listening to it, right?
That's right.
At that point, it's just a vanity project. It's not a business. It's not anything, because nobody gets any emotion out of not listening to music, right? They need to be able to hear it, vibe with it, give you feedback. And that's how you start building a relationship with your fans and start catering to also not just what you want to make, but what do they want to hear you make. And that's where you transition into being a business, right? And actually making music for the sake of having an income, which I think is it's a noble thing to do, right? If you want to make music your full-time living, you have to be able to monetize it at some point, because otherwise what happens is you run out of time, you run out of motivation, you run out of money, and then you can't afford to do music anymore. And then you're not doing anyone a service, because then you're no longer a musician. So you owe it to yourself and your fans and everyone else out there to put your music out there and make money from it. That's the bottom line.
What is the definition of monetizing?
When I say monetize, I just making money. It could be putting something on YouTube and getting advertising revenue from somebody clicking on the ad banners. It could be putting something up on Spotify and getting paid for streams. It could be putting an album in a store, whether it's digital or physical, and having somebody actually buy that music. Or it could be sync licensing. It could be something like making and recording music and then putting it in a film or a TV show, and you get paid royalties. So there's like 1,000 different streams of income for artists.
Yes,
you just need to figure out your lane and figure out what your market is looking for, and then cater to that.
Yes. Okay. Would you suggest me hiring somebody to do that part for me?
No, I suggest you do that yourself.
Yeah.
I really think like any kind of market research that you can do for yourself is going to be 100 times more valuable, because you understand your audience, right? You're a musician.
Yes.
These agencies and managers, some of those guys, they're perfect at selling their product and they're perfect at doing market research, but they're not artists. So you're going to understand your audience the best. And if you understand your audience the best, then you're going to be able to give them the best product and the best music that you possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We'll go back over to Steve.
As you were talking with Brendan Ford, a question popped in my mind. All right. So guys like Brendan and me who are like starting out, have like beats in your head, ideas in your head. I watched a video on YouTube the other day about a guy who he wrote a piano score, and he outsourced to a bunch of dudes on Fiverr, right? From low ticket to like pro, and they sounded good, great. So my question is like, okay, so guys like us that I mentioned that have ideas, what's your take on reaching out to dudes like on Fiverr to get production done, or get, just to help out produce a finished product? But it's our idea originally. I
think that's fine. I think go for it. Try it out. At the end of the day, no one's asking you to wear every single hat in your business, because it would be impossible to be the best marketer, the best salesperson, the best producer, the best arranger, the best engineer. So I think it's fine to have people on your team and to outsource work. It's the only way that ultimately you're going to grow your business and get from a certain plateau that you've reached to the next step. For me, I don't do anything in my business anymore. I don't even make the beats anymore at this point because I don't have the time. I have a team of 10 producers who create the content. Sometimes I direct them. I tell them what to create. I give them instructions. I give them feedback and stuff like that. But I outsource a lot of the work. And that's the only way really to get from, potentially growing to a 5 or 6 figure business to reaching that like 7 or 8 figure business is growing your team and outsourcing. Right. So I think it's fine for you to do that. That's totally legitimate.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
For sure, man.
All right.
Adrian, so question for you is, what is something that you learned later on in your career that you wish you knew starting off?
I think we just touched upon it, and that's really outsourcing, right? Not trying to do everything yourself. And for the first like 5 or 6 years or something like that, I literally tried to do everything. I got to a point where I realized that if I want to be at the top of everyone's, playlists and at the front page of the website, I need to put out a lot of content. So I was killing myself trying to make, beats every single day. I was also marketing them, promoting them. I was creating artwork for them. I was answering emails. I was doing the accounting. I was basically doing everything, right? And I was just breaking my back. And a lot of those tasks weren't really generating me any kind of return on investment or return on my time, right? They were just very low skilled tasks that pretty much anybody can do. Things like, uploading beats to a website or, aggregating expenses and putting them into a spreadsheet and stuff like that. That's something that you can teach anyone to do. You could outsource that to like a virtual assistant in the Philippines for $5 an hour. And to me, my time is worth a lot more than $5 an hour. So it's a no-brainer for me at that point to outsource that work, right? So if it takes me 20 hours a week to just upload or to answer, customer inquiries and stuff like that, that could be worth thousands of dollars in lost revenue if I'm doing that myself instead of, for example, doing business development or coming up with a new marketing campaign or something like that. That's way more valuable and has a much higher return on investment. So if I could go back in time and change things, I guess I would try to outsource much sooner and, not try to do absolutely everything myself.
Love that. Awesome. Thank you for that. Mr. Steve, you got another question?
Yeah. Since I got you, Adrian, back to the NFT thing. I don't know a whole lot about them yet, but I really got interested in them. And there's something that Gary Vee said. He pointed out something he said about like making artwork for your band, your group or whatever, and then offering that with your your fans, and like basically offering it as like an investment. Do you see that like as part of a good, making your bundle, or fitting in the funnel in any way?
Yeah, man. I mean, if you can pull that off, I think that'll be super cool. But here's the problem. There's like the technological aspect, right? You need to first figure that out. So if you have like zero knowledge of NFTs and you're trying to like create your own NFT, there's obviously a learning curve to that. So you got to figure that part out.
Yeah, big learning curve, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, the whole thing about a funnel really is to make it as like automated as possible. And if you're going to be manually issuing NFTs to people, there's probably going to be at least like some component there where you have to deliver like personally to every single customer, right? And the point of a funnel really is to scale, and you can't scale if there's like a lot of manual components to fulfilling on sales. I don't know if I'm getting like too technical and stuff like that.
No, not at all.
You want to make it like as simple as possible. So like putting an NFT in there might overcomplicate things. That being said, if you can figure out a way to like automate the whole process and just like generate an NFT for somebody automatically who purchases, then yeah, I think that'll be super cool. I mean, if you look at artists like Nas, for example, he just released 2 singles as NFTs. And the whole point of those is that his fans purchase them as investments. Now, unfortunately, they're probably never going to get their money back on that investment because of the way it's structured. And there's just not enough demand in the market for music NFTs just yet. But you never know, like 5 to 10 years down the road or something, like that could really take off as a business model.
Yeah. You answered that's exactly what I was looking for, was someone more on the inside, your view on it. So that's a great angle. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure, man. Yeah, check out what Nas did for his release. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
I just wanted to know what funnel that you suggested that you go through. Is there any any one type of funnel? I mean, you know what I mean? Like a company of that puts out funnels that you suggest to go through for your first funnel.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like a software platform, if that's what you mean, I mean, ClickFunnels is a great one. We actually created our own software platform specifically for producers and artists who are trying to build funnels. It's called Producer Funnels. If you guys want to check that out, it's pretty cool. It has everything, including SMS marketing, email marketing, building funnels. It has a built-in calendar system. It has a lot of cool stuff. So it kind of gives everything that artists and producers specifically need.
What is it called?
It's called Producer Funnels.
Okay, Producer Funnels. All right, right on. I'm gonna check it out, man, because I'm gonna go with my first funnel pretty soon here. So
Sounds good, man.
I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Producer fun. Yeah, Jake, make sure we get all that information. Maybe you could put in the chat channel or something for us.
Yeah, I can type. I'll type it in for you guys right now. Give me a second.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
I think that's what we got. Unless there's anyone else that has some last second questions. If not, Adrian, really appreciate your time. It's been awesome having you.
You got it. And I'll just post all those links in the chat for you guys if you want to quickly write them down before we close out. And yeah, looking forward to connecting with you guys.